Okay, everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino. I'm having a little technical problem here. It looks like Monday, March 25th, 2024. I cannot see. Can you guys hear and see me? Because I can't see me. What is going on here? I don't know. Can anybody hear me? Can you see me? How about me? Can you see me? I don't know what's going on with this thing. All right, look. All right, here's the situation here. I don't know what's going on with this lovely camera here, but I guess you can hear me and see me. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I've been looking kind of gruesome lately, actually, but maybe that's where the camera's decided to go black on me. All right, people, look, we have to talk. Let's start off with the market so we could just basically, I need this to get my head on. With regard to the 10-year yield, it remains stable. Nothing going on there. The dollar today, the Dixie or the relative strength of the dollar, still above 104. This is going to go on, all right? The relative strength of the dollar. I just did a really good interview with John Dowling. A lot of you know who this guy is. We talked about currencies and all kinds of stuff. Actually, that interview will be out later. I'll send out a link to all of you when I get it, so you'll be the first. Anyway, so with that, we have, again, 10-year yield doing nothing, looking, market's fine here. The market is still, maybe it's torn a little bit between what the Fed may or may not do. For me, it's a lock across the board. I can't even say this another way. It's an absolute lock what the Fed is going to do. They're going to do this in concert with the European Central Bank. And we got a word here from Goldman Sachs about that. And then we'll talk about that in just a moment here. So let me just touch back on this market. Market didn't do too much. We finished slightly negative today. Okay, it's the dollar relative strength that gave us a clue here. But this market's done nothing but go straight up. It's a freak show on a monumental scale, and you all know that. Crude oil, bam, getting bid higher as war is expanding. Imagine my shock. Imagine your shock. Remember I told you that, because we have to talk more about that in just a little bit. Cryptocurrencies higher, pretty much across the board. Bitcoin back over 71,000. Expect volatility, people. You know that. However, you know my take on this. I just don't know another way to put it. We haven't seen anything yet with regard to the moves of cryptocurrencies, commodities, which we're going to talk more about as well. That's pretty much the story. Now, I want you to pay attention to something here that's being hidden from the people. Imagine my shock and imagine your shock. So, every week pretty much we get economic news about this, that, and the other thing. And it's praised as the next greatest thing since who knows what. Then all of a sudden, kind of quietly in the background, these numbers get revised lower. And they hide that from you. They hide it from you. And we're seeing a lot of this as of late, especially with regard to retail sales, home sales getting revised lower. So just remember that all this, and you get it already. I know you do if you follow this blog. It is propaganda, upside down, backwards, and sideways. There's no truth at all. The data is all fake. These so-called polls that they do from leading economists, they're all fake. They're all engineered. So I just want you to remember that. Now, for those of you that have been with me for a long time, and there are some of you have been with me for a really long time since the beginning. When we watched banks, the major institutions getting bailed out, I said the next step or the next meltdown, nations were going to have to be bailed out. Well, that's already playing out to be true. So it looks like Egypt here is getting a unbelievable 40 billion first installment bailout here by the International Monetary Fund, who's run pretty much by the Federal Reserve. Yeah. So we're now bailing out an entire nation, and this is going to sweep the globe. Nations are going to need bailouts. This is the central banks consolidating. Where does the cash come from? Where does the cash to come from for all of this? The monumental debts and deficits that we run that are completely out of control. Well, I'm going to give you one guess. It comes from the central banks around the world. Nations here. None more so than here in the United States. Um, you know, our economies are in shambles around the world. Okay, this is again deliberate. This is central banks doing their very best and very successfully to destroy the global economy, to take down the consumer with it. You and I have outlined this since like forever. So we are seriously here in the United States. I mean, if it were not for the Fed making up for all the debts and deficits that we're running, we'd be done. So you can already say that we're being bailed out as well. It's just, and we're exporting our inflation to the rest of the world. We continue to export our inflation to the rest of the world on the back of the dollar being the world reserve currency, and nations around the world are sick. They're sick of it. You blame them? BRICS Alliance is part of. Again, more talk about the anti-U.S. alliance. They're setting this up. If you can't see what's being set up here, more war, more death, more pain, more suffering, then I don't know what to tell you. But that's kind of where we're going with this entire thing. And imagine my shock and imagine your shock. Now, I want to talk about commodities, okay? Actually, I'm going to let Goldman Sachs do the talking. Goldman Sachs is saying that commodities are going to gain as central banks cut rates. Well, let's delve a little deeper into that. So how does this work? You know how it works if you follow this blog. If you're new, maybe you haven't heard this before. When a central bank cuts rates, they can't just say, hey, we're going to cut rates. No, they have to get into the market and buy the debt. Now, where do they get the cash from to buy the debt? They add it to a digital screen. Click, 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 click as much as they want to. And they get into the market, they buy the debt. Now, central banks around the world are going to do, the ECB and the Fed especially, lockstep, bang, 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 bang. That's what they're going to do. So just count on that. And we're going to see a phenomenon occur, central banks cutting rates, and we're going to see massive currency devaluation. Okay, you're not allowed to know that. When this is massively inflationary, what's going on here. But again, we're going to be sold yet another lie. Imagine my shock, imagine your shock, that inflation is coming down. They're already pushing this narrative. Inflation is coming down. Inflation is dropping. It is not dropping anywhere. Okay. The pace happens to be slowing at this time, but I believe that's going to turn around too. Again, you have to understand the mechanism behind this. Central banks are, I'm going to say it again for the millionth time, hell bent on pushing more of their product on we, the people of the world. And I don't care how many times you might hear Jay Powell talk about tools. Tools. See what I'm doing? Tools. He has one tool, and that is the manipulation of debt. That's all central banks do. The more debt they're allowed to issue to we, the people, the more debt they're called upon to issue by our so-called representatives, the exponentially stronger, not weaker, central banks become. And this is why, again, they're looking for another avenue to inflate. What's going on? The Federal Reserve is tapering down their repo program, which was nothing more than a scheme to fake liquidity. We are marching straight into a full-blown liquidity. We're in it. You see, if you don't understand that we already are in a full-blown liquidity crisis, then you don't understand what's going on. And that was the real issue with the meltdown of 2008. It wasn't the fact that the market was crashing. It was the fact that the system was locking. In order to unlock the system, our loving, caring representatives, voted for massive capital injections into the market to free it up. That's where the Fed should have stopped. They didn't. Instead, they decided to use this mechanism to reinflate an epic bubble. Not just reinflate, but monumentally hyperinflate a stock market bubble, a real estate bubble, distort asset prices across the spectrum like you can't even possibly believe. But with regard to commodities, we haven't seen anything yet. So Goldman Sachs here, commodities to gain, via currency devaluation, by sucking the purchasing power out of currencies. Now, with regard to commodities, here's another one for you. Oil prices rise as Ukraine strikes Russian refineries. Now, we're paying for this, okay, just so you know. And it's kind of interesting how our lovely, illustrious, beautiful man of a president, just so beautiful, was urging Ukraine to not attack Russian refineries, which is nonsense. Okay, because if you look at any war, and this is a war, the first thing they do is they attack communications. That's number one. Number two is they attack energy infrastructure, and that's what's going on. So we're paying for this. Our illustrious president is saying not to, but of course he knows they're going to. So it's just a game that they play, honestly. So with regard to commodities, people, look, I have put out no less than five um, articles in my free newsletter, free to you, free to everybody, link in the description of the video, regarding exchange traded funds, which will allow you access to a broad base of commodities. If you have to own one, here it is. Physical silver. If you could own two, gold and silver. Platinum, palladium, I love them. I love all commodities. As a matter of fact, that's something else we were talking about today. Commodities are where to be moving forward. If you and I understand them, look at the mechanism here. If you believe that currency devaluation by central banks is going to, by some miracle, stop, well, then I think you're deluded on a grand scale. It is not going to stop. Central banks have, I've been telling all of you, literally for over a decade, that central banks are literally, I'm going to say the word again, literally, in a race to the bottom to see who among these institutions can suck the purchasing power out of their currency faster, and we're paying for it. We're paying for it literally. Again, understanding what's happening here. It's astonishing to me how many people don't understand how it works here. When you go to when people think that the price of this just happened to go up because maybe it's more scarce or because it's really in demand. No, it's because the currency is being devalued. And this mechanism is going to go on and on. Don't take my word for it. Listen to Goldman Sachs, okay? Goldman Sachs is telling you commodities prices are going to gain as they cut rates. But this is nothing. This isn't even the beginning of it all. You know how this is going to work out, and it's going to be on a scale, again, that people are not going to believe. Debt market meltdown, which is going to happen. We're already in a full-blown liquidity crisis. You know that. Okay. What are they going to do to kind of fill in the gaps? They're going to print more cash out of thin air, right? Miss Williams, Jana, nice name. Absolutely. That's where it's going to go. And we already know that. So if we know that, what do you want to do? You got to take action. Commodities. That's where you got to be. And, in this case here too, it's the stock market. Again, everything becomes more expensive, even shares of stock. So the illusion of the market is maintained. Do you see what's going on? All the things that you and I have covered over and over and over and over again. Well, here it is. It's in our freaking face. It's absolutely incredible. Honestly, it's all fake. It's all artificial. It's just an environment like nothing we've ever seen before in history. But again, look, as I was talking to John Dowling earlier, this is when you have this kind of thing, all right, it just means that opportunities open, doors open, and doors for commodities, as you well know. Look, most of you here that have been with me already own probably a lot, or at least I hope you own some silver, gold, platinum, palladium as well. Maybe you do have access to commodities via an exchange traded fund, like I've suggested in the past here. Staying long the market. This market is the gift that keeps on giving, people. You can pull those profits and put it into something else here, or even if you're in cryptocurrencies as well. If you got into Bitcoin when I started saying it's 17,500, and you pull profit, I pulled profit at like 38. I use that to buy other things. I'm not selling anymore for now. Okay, I'm kind of in a spot where I'm just going to hold and hold and hold until doomsday, pretty much here. But anyway, look, I'm preaching to the choir. All of you know what's going on. And again, I just want to thank all of you for being here. All my friends, Magic Meek, Alava, Axioms here. Joey Sox is here. I know that. I saw him floating around. Lord Humongous is gone. Unfortunately, I really feel like something bad happened to that guy. People, before I get out of here, it's getting kind of long. I'm going to turn this over to you. If there is anything that you all want to talk about here. XRP, absolutely. We're going to see what happens there too. We're going to lick silver. Sure, lick it, suck on it, play with it, rub it all over your body. Why the freak not? I'm on the same page as you. Steve O's world, Bitcoin is, people are not ready for it. People are not ready to see where this is going to go eventually. honestly. But again, that's okay. It's not for everybody. It's an extremely volatile spot. I get that. Guitars and race cars, absolutely. Eminon, yes. Forever. Eminon forever. Andrew, thank you. It's all about that, isn't it? What octane does Copo use? I use VP Fuel C16. It's 117 octane. We've got about 11-to-1 compression, 10.9 with 20 pounds of boost. So it needs a lot of octane, and it's heavily leaded as well. All right, rocket fuel. Exactly. What happens when fiat currency dies? You're seeing it right now. Fiat currency is dying. They're going to kill the system, people. They're killing the system methodically and deliberately, only to issue in a new system of maximum control. And people are lining up for the slaughter. And they're being led to the slaughter via the propaganda ministry, by politicians that won't tell us the truth. No one's going to point their fingers at the Federal Reserve and tell us what's going on. Okay, we have to discern this for ourselves, and it's not that hard to do. You got it? Yes, the MMRI is free to everybody. If that's what you mean by open source, it's right on my website. I hope you utilize that. It's been there for quite a long time. It's MMRI says that we're in a high risk environment, and the market seems comfortable because, in my view, there's a tug of war. Half the market believes the Fed's going to cut rates for the reasons we outline all the time. They must inflate. War will expand. That's one avenue. Two, that's where their power resides, in their ability to inflate people. Nothing is going to stop these central banks from inflating. Nothing. Okay. No president who is going to be selected to be the next president, he is not going to stop the Fed from inflating. In fact, they'll probably call on the Fed to inflate even more to sustain the illusion of some kind of prosperity, but it's not. There's always a downside. The downside is currency devaluation. We've really hit a critical mass. We've hit that moment of maximum saturation. There's no doubt about it. It's just going to build and build and build until this whole thing comes down like a house of cards built over a pool of gasoline. I've told you this all a gazillion times. You all know that. I'm preaching to the choir. Yes, Bianicot steel. Yes, the screws are being tightened, Carly. You are so right. It's unbelievable what's happening. It is. I mean, it's unbelievable. Look, you and I get it. Me, Carly, all my friends here, we all get it. We know what's going on. And I wish we had some more people here involved. Without more people understanding this, could you imagine how this is going to unfold? Again, 98% of the population is going to be so blindsided by this. They're going to have no idea. First of all, they don't even understand what's happening to them now. You got the propaganda ministry trying to convince people that the central banks are on their side, that central banks are really working to stop inflation. Meanwhile, they're the ones that created it by design. There's no mistake here. It's appropriate. Appropriate. Remember that word appropriate out of his mouth? Powell and all theirs. Oh, it's appropriate. They've done this by design, on purpose, and they're strangling us to death. And this is the way it's going to go. And it's the way it's going right now. But we got each other, and we know what to do. We are taking action. Are we not? All right, people, we're going to get out of here. I want to thank you for being here, all of you, for your friendship, for your love, for your support, for those thumbs up here. Let's see if we can improve that just a little bit. Again, it allows those thumbs up, allow the algorithms to pick the video up. Hey, people like this video, and they show it. And that comes down to you, too. Please share this stuff. Get it out there. Buy a chihuahua. I got 2 little dogs right now. And one day, I promise you, I'll bring Coco back out. Lick Coco? I gotta lick Coco. I'm going to kiss him. Anyway, all right, people. Again, love you from the heart. I'll see you in the morning. All right. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. I'm out of here.